I feel like there has been a massive attack on introverts lately. And I always compare it to like a movie set. You have the actors and the actresses who like to be on camera, who like to be the center of attention, but you also have the people behind the camera. You have the production crew. You have the people that are making sure that things are running behind the scenes that don't necessarily want the spotlight on them. I feel like both of those types of people are just as important. They have the same value. Black people don't get to be introverts without serious challenges professionally and socially. And I could not agree with a tweet more. And I really think it comes from a place of insecurity within extroverts. Now, I'm not saying that all extroverts are insecure. I'm not saying that. We don't have a desire to be the center of attention. We're okay. We're comfortable enough in ourselves to just sit there and exist. Why do I have to sit here and perform to make you feel better? An extroverted person meets me. They notice that I'm introverted. They notice that I'm someone that likes to be low key, and it bothers them. And they feel the need to fix it and change it and try to like force it out of me. Stop trying to make other people into what you are. Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am here to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, something that I have been preaching to the choir for some time now, and I feel like I will never stop talking about this because I just feel like we really need to get out of the habit of thinking that everyone needs to be the same and that everyone needs to have the same personality. I feel like we're just in this weird time now where people are not allowed to be different and unique. People are not allowed to have different opinions. People aren't allowed to have different personalities. And if someone, lives their life a different way than you, people feel the need to try to tear you down for that, to argue you into trying to conform to how they are. I just feel like people don't allow for true diversity, even when it comes to just different personalities, different ways of expressing yourself, different opinions. I just feel like we've really gotten away from that. And one thing that, I've touched on quite a bit, mostly in like TikTok videos. I don't think I've ever made a full length video on it, but the time has come. And like I said, I'm gonna try to keep this relatively short. But basically, something that I've struggled with, and I'm not happy that it's become a known issue, but I'm happy that I'm not the only one with this issue, because I often feel like with this particular issue, it's just not something that people understand. I feel like, whenever I've tried to talk about this with people, instead of them trying to understand me and trying to validate my feelings, I often get told that I am just wrong for feeling that way. I feel like there has been a massive attack on introverts lately, and I don't know why. I don't know why introverts upset people so bad. I don't understand why y'all despise us so much. Again, I get it. It's like, most people are like extroverted, they like to have the center of attention. They like to, command every room that they walk into. But some of us like to be low key. Some of us like to stay quiet. Some of us like to be behind the scenes, right? And I always compare it to like a movie set. You have the actors and the actresses who like to be on camera, who like to be the center of attention. They want that. They want to be in front of the camera. But you also have the people behind the camera. You have the production crew. You have the people that are making sure that things are running behind the scenes that don't necessarily want the spotlight on them, right? And I feel like both of those types of people are just as important, right? They have the same value. There's value in both. But what I've come to notice, what I've come to realize, and what I have dealt with personally, is that a lot of times extroverts will literally bully introverts into trying to be extroverted. They look at it as a character flaw instead of a personality trait. And, I came across this tweet, right? Because I didn't even think about it from this perspective. But then I came across this tweet. And of course the tweet went away, so now I have to pull it back up. Here we go. So I came across this tweet and it said black people don't get to be introverts without serious challenges professionally and socially. And I could not agree with a tweet more. Because this has been me. It's been a recent struggle at my job, and it's been a struggle amongst friend groups in the past couple of years. It's something that I just can't wrap my mind around, and why people find such issue with it. And I was reading through some of the comments, and I'm going to read some of the comments as well, because again, this really speaks to something that I have dealt with personally. So there's this one tweet, and this is what's crazy is that being an introvert means being excluded or iced out in the workplace, and then when you accept it, you're told to socialize more with your coworkers. I cannot agree more. Now, have I been iced out of the workplace? No. But one thing that I am starting to experience firsthand that I really don't like about the workplace is this expectation to perform. I hate it. And that's also part of why I've been so introverted, and why I didn't normally go out much in the past, because it just was always exhausting. Going out with friends and associates has just always been very exhausting, because you are expected to perform. You're expected to match the energy of everyone else in the room. You're not allowed to be low key. You're not allowed to just be there and exist. Cause I would like, if I was allowed to just, again, to just exist and to just be and to just organically be a part of certain conversations, I would show up to way more stuff. But a lot of times and granted, now I'm kind of in a space where I just desperately want to get out more. So now I kind of just deal with it. But before, especially when I was on campus, I wouldn't go to stuff because I already knew that I was going to have to perform. I was going to have to try to, live up to other people's expectations. Because here's what happens, right? People would complain that I never get out, right? Oh, you don't ever come to nothing. We invite you to stuff and you don't want to come. Now, again, people know I'm not into like parties or any places that's super duper crowded that's going to spike my anxiety. And those were kind of like the only environments that I was getting invited to. So I would say no a lot. But here's the thing, I understand people getting upset at me for not wanting to go somewhere, right? Completely understand that. And so when I push myself and I make the effort to go to things or go to certain events that I don't even feel comfortable going to just to please them, now I am being evaluated for how I act at these events. And so let's say I get invited to a party, right? Again, I don't like parties, they make me uncomfortable. But let's say I decide to go anyway to please whoever is inviting me to that event. Then, if I go to the party and I don't act a certain way, or I'm not super like into it or energetic, then that's an issue too. And that's also why too, like if I'm just not like in the mood to like if I'm going through something, right, and my mental health is not there, a lot of times I don't see the benefit. People love to say like, oh, or even if you're, not super energetic, and even if you're not super happy, like that's okay, you can still come out. But then you still get mad at the person if they aren't pretending to be happy and they aren't being super involved. Like there have been times where I'm like, mentally I'm just kind of checked out. I don't really feel like talking to anybody. I don't really want to interact with anybody right now, but I'm being pushed to go here. So let me go and try to like satisfy everybody. But then it's, oh, like every time you come around, you're so quiet. You don't say anything. You just sit there and it's okay. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? You're telling me that I need to come out anyway, even though I'm not mentally in a space to be around anybody. And then when I come out, then it's, oh, you're not talking, and oh, like you're ruining the mood. And this has been an issue I've had literally since like freshman year of college. You want people to perform. And I really think it comes from a place of insecurity within extroverts. Now, I'm not saying that all extroverts are insecure. I'm not saying that. I feel like for introverts, we don't have that desire to fill up silence. We don't have a desire to be the center of attention. We're okay. We're comfortable enough in ourselves to just sit there and exist. But that concept is uncomfortable for a lot of people. And so they project that onto people who are comfortable with themselves. And that's what I've come to realize. There are people who they feel like they have to be in front of people's faces. They have to be the center of attention because that's how they, I guess, fulfill themselves. And it's like, why do I have to sit here and perform to make you feel better? And again, I understand there's both sides to it, right? I understand, like, you being invited somewhere and you just not engaging at all and just coming across standoffish. I get that as well, but I'm not talking about that. Cause for me, I can say that when I am in spaces, right, I will insert myself into conversations that I feel I can, contribute to. But there are a lot of times where people be talking about stuff and I don't really have much to say or add. So, I'll sit there, I'll, laugh and, like I'll be in the conversation, but I'm not necessarily adding a whole lot to it because I just don't have anything to add. But then a lot of times when I do that, then I'll get told like, oh, like you weren't really talking and, what's going on? Like, are you upset? Are you angry? And it's like, no, I just didn't have anything to say. And it's the same thing for work is like it's worse there because it's just like, again, there's an expectation to perform. And then you have people at work who feel like you have to give your whole life story at every single meeting. They want to know every single detail of your weekend. They want to know who's staying at your house, what you eat for dinner. Like they want to know everything. And then it's like if you don't divulge all parts of your life, then it's, oh, you're not connecting with the team, you're not really involving yourself, you're being very standoffish. And I just don't understand it. And I've also been in situations where the work that you do gets overlooked for how much you talk in a meeting. And it doesn't make any, I don't know why people put so much value in, again, filling up silence and talking just to talk. I don't see any value in talking just to talk and talking just to hear your own voice. Like to me, what's more valuable is someone that sits back, listens, receives everything that's being said, and then providing a response based off of that. You wanting to just, like, I don't know, it's weird how people will get upset with you just for being quiet and just for wanting to be present. Again, there's been so many situations where like I might want to show up to something or I might want to, you know, sit in on a conversation. But then people get up in arms that I'm not saying anything. And it's like, oh well, since Briante is over there so quiet, what do you have to say? And it's like, see, when you create that type of environment, now I'm not gonna come. Now I'm not gonna show up anymore because you're putting me on the spot, and I hate that. I hate being put on the spot. And that's another thing that triggers me about this whole thing. I constantly get put on the spot in group situations. Again, whether it's friends, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, I constantly like, and the reason why it pisses me off is because it doesn't ever happen to anybody else because I pay attention to it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and see if anyone else gets called out for not saying anything or whatever the case may be. There's always a point in time in these meetings where someone will make a comment like, oh, Briante's been sitting over there all quiet. What do you have to say? And it's like, if I had something to say, I will say it. But also making that passive aggressive comment of, well, since you're so quiet and since you aren't saying anything, like I can tell from the way you're saying it that it's bothering you so badly that I'm not saying anything. But it's like if I don't have anything to say, that I'm not gonna talk. And but guess what? When I do have something to say, I contribute. And no one can ever argue me on that either. I could understand if like I did have input and I was making it a point to not give my input and I was going out of my way to not speak. But when there are opportunities for me to speak, for me to give my input, for me to give my opinion or my perspective on something, I talk. I talk and I share it. But because I don't talk as much as everyone else, it's a problem. And I get tired of people putting me on the spot just because I don't have a lot to say. Because again, it's not like I'm not talking at all. A lot of times, I just like to sit back and listen. And that bothers people, and I just get so sick and tired of people putting me on the spot, because then it makes me not want to show up to anything. This happened a lot on Zoom. Actually, that's what I kind of missed about the Zoom and the in person. Because at least when you go to in person stuff, you can kind of like sit in the back where no one can see you. But on Zoom meetings, it would happen all the time, even at just like campus events that would happen over Zoom. There were so many times where I'm like say someone was having like a round table or like a group discussion. I would want to come to just listen in on the discussion. But I would never go, because I'm like, I know at some point someone's going to get irritated that I'm sitting here not saying anything, and I'm going to get called out. So you know what? I'm just not going to attend. That has happened so many times. And I'm just like, I don't want to get put on the spot for not talking. I think because I'm a naturally quiet person, a lot of the times with most people, it often causes me to get left out of stuff. Like a lot of times I like, and I talked about this too in the past, how in college, and this might even tie into high school, where people wouldn't want to invite me to anything because they're like, oh, Briante's not gonna be interactive or be involved. And it's like, no. Like, I'll never forget, we had a trip that we went to in high school. I think it was King's Dominion, and I ended up with like a completely different friend group that I hadn't planned on going around King's Dominion with. We kind of just all ended up together, and I ended up just doing stuff with them, and we got on a couple of rides together. And I remember after we got done doing that, they were like, you know what, I wasn't expecting this, but you're actually pretty fun to hang around. And I've gotten that comment so many times where people were like, you really surprised me. I wasn't expecting you to be like actually like enjoyable and fun to be around. And I would get so offended, because I'm like, were you thinking this whole time that I was just like bland and stale? And like I said, I get it if I was someone who just was mute, right? And I was someone that visibly seemed disengaged and like I don't want to be there. It's really annoying how much introverts just get mistreated. I've gotten like yelled at by people for not talking enough. And it's I think what's the issue here is, again, it being treated like it's a character flaw. I've met people, and this even stems from like my childhood too, like my mom, like past partners I've had, like it's literally shown up in all areas of my life, in my home life, in relationships, and now my job, where someone meets me, an extroverted person meets me, they notice that I'm introverted, they notice that I'm someone that likes to be low key, and it bothers them, and they feel the need to fix it and change it and try to like force it out of me. And it's just like, that's just not who I am. And why does me being low key and not needing to be the center of attention, why does that bother you so badly to where you're getting upset? I've had like, y'all don't understand. I have had people get upset and angry because I don't talk as much as them, or because I don't want to, again, be the center of attention. It's like, no, I just kind of want to chill. I just want to be in the back. I just want to relax. And I've even had situations too, with work where, I've been told like I'm not being energetic enough, or my facial expressions, like I'm not smiling enough in meetings. And again, it's just this performativeness is just weird to me. And that's like just the one thing that I really don't like, because it's just like, I should just be able to come in, be myself, be to myself, without it bothering somebody so bad. Like, I don't understand that's really the part. Like, if you just don't mesh well, or you just prefer to not be friends with or interact with introverts, I still find that to be a little weird. But if that's your thing, if you feel like you just don't click with those type of people, then fine. But I think turning it into an issue and making someone feel bad. And I've even heard people have lost their jobs because they didn't want to sit and eat with their coworkers. When people are going around sharing like what they did over the weekend, if they don't share what they did over the weekend in detail, I've heard people have gotten let go. Now, obviously, jobs will frame it in a different way, right? Like, oh, you didn't meet this deliverable, these emails were late. But all in all, you can point it to, oh, so because I wasn't talking enough to my coworkers, y'all decided to let me go. Like, that happens. I've seen people talk about this. It's just, I really don't understand what the beef is with people who are quiet and introverted. Like, we literally don't bother anybody. And like I said, I think part of it is insecurity. The fact that we can just sit there and not have to engage in that way, and we can just be present. There are people who are not capable doing that, and there are people that aren't comfortable enough within themselves to even be to themselves. Like, that's the other thing too, is like a lot of introverts, they don't have to be at every party. They don't need to constantly be in social settings. They know how to be alone, how to do things alone, and still be happy and enjoy themselves. A lot of people don't know how to do that. And that bothers them when they see people who can do that and are comfortable with themselves. All in all, being an introvert is not something that you need to fix. Like, we need to stop doing that. We need to stop looking at people that are different from us as there being something wrong with them because they're not like us, or because they don't have the same personality as us, or because, like, stop trying to make other people into what you are. I think that's more so what it is. Like, it's okay for people to be different, to be into different things. If you're into parties and your friend isn't into parties, don't try to force them into that, and don't tell them that they're lame or they're weird or they're boring because they don't want to go to a party. They're just into different things. But yeah, let's just, let's stop judging. Let's stop judging people. And again, if you are in a group setting and you see someone that, they're present, but they just maybe aren't being super talkative, you can encourage them. You can actually encourage them and maybe ask them a question to, get them involved. But don't be passive aggressive about it. Don't be mean about it, and don't make them feel bad or make them feel like there's something wrong with them because they're not being super talkative. Again, there's a way to do it, not calling people out and putting them on blast. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that topic. Let me know if you are also an introvert that has dealt with this, has gotten pushback from extroverts, and you've had people try to change you, or you've had people try to make you feel bad for just being a naturally reserved person. Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video or agree with anything that I said, make sure you guys go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.